This conference will now be recorded.
So, welcome. You would think things would get calmer and easier. I don't think they are. We can't see anybody, so I don't know where your faces are, which kind of sucks because it's nice to see you. But yeah, and I don't want to sign out because if I sign out,
we may lose everyone.
I don't want to lose everybody. So there. So that being said, okay. So as we talked about on
We lost your voice now as well.
detox webinar, and today is the
Oh, break up.
I noticed that. That's weird. Okay, can you guys hear us okay now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's bring the computer a little closer. So even though we're cycling back through to where we started, 12 weeks ago, everything changes because it's really dynamic and it's really about you guys and what you're dealing with and what you're going through in your detox. So circling back, especially right now with everything going on, and we've got this interesting dynamic because we've been doing this. We've been doing this. Now I'm hearing myself.
Maybe turn the camera off. It's going to ease the
What?
Oh, then
Yeah.
they won't be able.
Okay, so let's.
They won't be able.
Okay, so let's. Or actually, I know where it's coming from. Actually, see if we can do this. That's better. Okay, so as I was saying, we've been doing this, right? We've been staying at home. We have been separating ourselves from other people. And in a way, we got it down. There's a routine going on. And in a way, I think a lot of us can agree we're kind of over it. We've been there, done that, and we're kind of finished with it. So this is really a great time for this particular topic of consciousness to be addressed again. And when we did it the first time 12 weeks ago, none of this was going on, at least not in our lives personally. So I think this is a really, really good time to address it. Boy, I really hate not seeing everyone.
It's hard.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm really trying to get that camera working so we see you again. Okay, so consciousness. So the affirmation for today is, today I set my intentions and face my fears. And again, I don't think that there's a more appropriate time for us as a collective to be in that place, of maybe not so much fear, but unknowing, angst, yeah,
anxiety,
anticipation,
nervousness,
yeah. So I really want you guys to think about, and then I'll go ahead and unmute here and there. I really want you guys to think about and share with us what kind of practices you are participating in right now that is about consciousness, that is about bringing yourself to get yourself settled, stop thinking about future, stop thinking about tomorrow, stop overthinking about what's going on in the world with this virus. And then how about consciousness with your practice of detox? What kind of things are you guys doing to bring a sense of consciousness to what you're going through with your detox, to what your mind is doing, since this is the mindset webinar this week? What is your mind doing? Where is your mind taking you through your detox, through what's going on in the world? And then what kind of things are you doing to bring yourself back to a state of consciousness? And I guess what I mean by that is, are we truly conscious when the mind starts having that ongoing chatter, that ongoing conversation, the questions about what if? What if this doesn't go away? What's going on out in the world? Or what if I don't heal? Or what if I can't do this? What if I make a mistake? Are those moments of being in consciousness, or are those moments that we just let the mind do what the mind likes to do, which is chit chat and talk to us and maybe take us in a negative direction? So let me ask you, Veronique, these days, and I know you're detoxing right now, so what kind of things do you do to stay present, to stay in the moment of your detox process, or even what's going on in the world?
There's so much to say about that. But 2 days ago, I was listening to someone who's well known in Canada, and I forgot his last name, but he was giving the image of us as an individual within our communities and within the world. He was giving an analogy with a bicycle wheel, and we are the bicycle wheel with our lives. And the way he was explaining that was like the middle of the wheel is where we want to be, because this is the eye, the center of the eye, like in a hurricane. There's nothing happening in the middle of a hurricane. It's like swirling around like crazy around us, like it is now in the world. But we want to really get back to that centeredness and grounding. So I really resonated with what he was saying, because since I listened to him, he was actually advising not to step back from all the social media, the news, and to take that opportunity to actually center ourselves and really observe and look at what do we want to do, what do we want to create from this chaos that we have right now in our lives. Do you want to go back to the exact old way, to where you were? And that brings us to detox. Do we want to go back to where we were before? No, I don't personally, and I'm sure you guys don't either. So, I really liked also the analogy he was doing with the wheel, that I wanted to finish that idea, is that the center of the wheel is where we want to be, because all the different,
Spokes.
what is it? Spokes, thank you. I always look for the word spokes. The more you get away from the center, the fastest it goes. So we really want to come back to the center and really stay there as much as possible. And of course, it's challenging. And that's what ties down to our consciousness webinar today, is about, maybe reassessing our goals with detox, and like Roseanne was talking about, like maybe the anxiety, the fears, but everything is tied to ourselves, and we are responsible for that. So that's really, since these past 2 days, I'm really not even participating in anything, political or news-wise. I usually don't watch the news very much, but especially now, I'm like stepping back from all this, and I'm really thinking seriously about, what do I want to create in my life now? What kind of lifestyle do I want?
And again, like Veronique said, this is all very wrapped together with your detox. Consciousness is an interesting thing, because certainly Harm can speak about meditation and how meditation brings you to a state of being here and now, and conscious awareness. When it comes to detox, a lot of people struggle with food, right? I mean, that's the biggest struggle. It's easy enough to take your herbs. That's a no-brainer. But we struggle with food. And so one of the things that I want you guys to think about in consciousness, when you're struggling with food and cravings, you're not necessarily going to say, let me stop and meditate, right? But if you do, and that's great. But the other thing to do is say, let me stop and ask. And when I say ask, it's not necessarily pick up the phone or the email or whatever and ask Veronique and Kathy and I. It's not necessarily that. It's let me ask myself. Because when we are lacking in consciousness, we don't ask. We just do. That's why people pick up cigarettes and it becomes a habit. There's no consciousness. There's no connection. So it just becomes a habit. You get in the car. If you've ever had, hey Taylor, if you've ever had a power outage in your house, right? And so it's kind of dark and you have to use the bathroom and you get up and you walk across the room and you walk into the bathroom and you go and flip the light on, even though you know the power is out. You just came from a dark room and now you're flipping a light on in a room that is obviously not going to go on. There's a lack of consciousness there, right? There's just knee-jerk reaction. There's just habit. I walk through the door, I flip the light on. So you've got to start to think about that when you are detoxing, when you are eating, when you are choosing what you're choosing to eat. You've got to start thinking about, am I making a conscious choice? And the way to do that is to literally ask your body. And we most fear doing this because we don't want the answer, because we want the pizza, because we want the chips, because we want the candy bar, whatever it is. So we don't want to take that moment to really ask. But there's a knowingness and there is a consciousness not only in your mind, but there's a consciousness in every single cell of your body. And if you take the moment to ask, you take the food, whatever you're thinking about having, and you ask, you hold it and you ask your body. And if you're thinking about having something that's not in the house that you have to go out and get, again, sit for a moment and ask your body, do I want this? You've heard of the term gut feeling or gut instinct? Your gut right here, or Harm might talk about the dantian down lower, but your body is going to tell you, yes, I want this. Your cells are going to tell you, yes, I want this, or no, you're literally going to shudder away from it. The thing is, do you choose to listen? So do you ask in a conscious way, and then do you choose to hear the response and take it and listen? So that's extraordinarily important to get you through not only each week of detox, not only each day of detox, but really each moment of detox. And that is quite important for success. So unfortunately, I can't see you guys. So I'm going to unblock your microphones. There we go. So does someone want to start with their thoughts? Someone want to start with their thoughts? Can you guys hear us okay? Can you guys hear us okay? Did somebody write something? No, that's no, let's see if I turn this back on. If that'll work. Can you guys hear me? Can someone say something?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I am so sorry for the technical difficulties. So would someone like to share what they're doing in terms of having a consciousness through this process, or would someone like to share their struggles about it?
Well, I'd like to follow up on Veronique's center. And just as a sort of as a term of definition, even though about consciousness, which cannot really be defined, but what one of my teachers explained to me was consciousness is that which is aware of itself. Consciousness is that aware of itself. And now I hear myself again. That's weird. And now I hear myself again. That's weird. Hello.
Try again, Harm.
So in spiritual terms or in mystical terms, consciousness is that which is aware of itself. And that's it. So, and then, so I try to distinguish the words consciousness and awareness. The other thing about the center is, and in many traditions, you focus in the center of the body, somewhere below the navel, 1/3 inside the body. It's sort of a, you know, like a sphere of a few inches. And the interesting thing is, when your body is always in the here and now, your body is not suddenly out of the room or it's there tomorrow. It's always here, and it's always now. So the moment you focus your mind in your lower belly or anywhere in your body, you are in the here and now, and all future or past thoughts or ideas, they're just gone because they're just not there. You will notice that the more you focus there, the more you start experiencing things like feeling empty or actually feeling that cyclone, because that's the function of the center of the cyclone, because that's the function in your body. Many traditions focus, especially in the beginning, exclusively on that center. So it's even if you just do it 5 minutes a day, make it a habit, you will find that gradually it becomes a very good friend where you can always turn to. And it becomes stronger and stronger the more you do it.
So tell us, Harm, when you're having a struggle, either with food or just with the thoughts that might go through the head about, am I going to get to where I want to be in my state of health? When those struggles come up, tell us your practice. Where might you go? I mean, I love what you're saying, that coming to the body and focusing there, you can only be present, right? You can't be in your future or in your past. What practice might you do in that moment when you're feeling that struggle?
Well, it always starts with a decision. There's only one person that can focus, and that's me. If I don't make the decision to focus, well, game is over. That's how it is. But sometimes I find it's easy if you sit on a chair and you just focus in your lower belly or whatever you want to focus on. But it's another thing when you're standing in your kitchen and you're doing things, or I pass by restaurants and I follow the wagon all the time. But even when I'm there and I order things, I'm aware of the fact that I'm doing that. So I don't lose my awareness, but I'm aware of that I'm falling off the wagon. Let's put it that way. So I try to not be too hard on myself and judge at that moment, but just aware that I'm doing it. Because for me, ultimately, staying aware is more important than becoming healthy. Because ultimately, you'll have to lose your body. I have to leave. So and that helps me. And one more thing is that I once read that a yogi said, when people ask, well, what are you going to do tomorrow? He said, well, tomorrow will bring its own solutions. And I really like that phrase because I often try to find solutions for everything that happens from now until eternity. And just solutions for today will do.
That's really good. I like that a lot. And I also will say that humans tend to look for the answer when they're in the most trouble, right? So we drop on our knees and pray to God when we are in dire straits. We're talking here now about consciousness and what to do in that moment when I'm craving something, or when I'm having, you know, a worry session or anxiety or meltdown about what will tomorrow bring with my detox and my health. So we oftentimes, you know, have that, as my husband would say, that go to Jesus moment, like, okay, what can I do right now? Do I breathe? Do I focus? What do I do? What consciousness practice can I do right now to help me get through this? And I think the other way to look at it, and I'm guilty of this myself, is to practice consciousness in all aspects of life and awareness in all aspects of life throughout the day. I mean, there's going to be times, of course, where we get back into our habits and we separate ourselves and we think about yesterday or tomorrow. But I think the key is not just about the consciousness for this moment, this time, this practice, this detox, this craving, but really, what are we going to do to practice on a daily basis? And I think that will help us, you know, the person who wants to, you know, fit into a dress for a party tomorrow and decides they're going to not eat all day and just drink water, you know, as opposed to the person who says, okay, I'm going to have this event and then there's going to be life past that event and other events. What can I do now to carry me through? So I think that Harm is really good at this because he does Tai Chi, which is definitely about being in the moment and being present and aware. And then he practices meditation, which also obviously the same thing. So I think that the answer is yes, find something to do right now. EFT is one thing. We do tapping to help with bringing the mind back to center, bringing the body back to focus, understanding where we are, understanding that we have ultimate power. There's other things like EMDR. There's so many things out there. But what are you guys doing on your daily basis to keep bringing you back to having a more conscious life and a more life filled with awareness? So thank you for that, Harm. Would anyone else like to share on that? Some of their practices, some of their struggles. On that, some of their practices, some of their struggles.
Sont activés.
Who is that?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Is that Claire?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, my dear.
Okay. I'm kind of like Harm. I've been doing Tai Chi, Qigong, all that kind of stuff for ages. And been meditating, like I did a challenge in the beginning of the year. So now I'm kind of meditating twice a day. I try. And a lot of prayer. And what else? Yeah, I mean, the thing that's been working for me for this detox is that I'm alone here in Florida. So it's been really kind of easy, I think, for me. When I go home next, I have a flight going back in a little less than a month. I know then it's going to be a struggle. But for now, I've been pretty good. And in fact, I even challenged myself. I'm doing a 9-day liver cleanse, which today's my last day. It's all juicing.
Good. So tell me a little bit about the difference once you go home, once you go back to New York. What's going to be different?
Well, every time I talk to my husband, he's like, we're going to have to talk. You know, like, I can't be eating fruit all day and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, you said you've been cooking your own meals and you want to take over, so start taking over. And I'm like, honestly, you could eat a little more fruit. So, I don't know.
So that's interesting. That was kind of a this is a bit of a sidebar, but that seemed to be a common topic today, all morning long in the office, of people kind of being directed by other people, whether it's why are you doing this, or where are you getting your protein? God knows I love that question. Or you can't eat this much fruit, or all those things that, and then everyone is offering information. You should do this, you should do that, you should do the other. And so that really stirs up your own personal awareness, doesn't it? When other people throw these ideas and these thoughts into the plan that you had, doesn't that kind of stir things up? How does that make you feel, Claire? And then we'll ask the others.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's going to be interesting for me to see what happens, and I watch and hear the kids, and my daughter, she's 7 months pregnant, and I keep suggesting, you're feeding the baby, you shouldn't be eating so much cookies or cake, and why are you making, blah, blah, blah. And I hear her, oh, they made lasagna for dinner the other night. I don't know. What was the question?
So for you, how does it make you feel when people start to kind of push their thoughts or their agendas or what they think is right on you? Because that can flip around to your thoughts with your daughter too.
When they keep, I try to, like the biggest thing I was saying is on another one of our meetings, my nephew is like with the protein, and I try to direct your book, and other things. And I even had a couple people buy the book. I don't know if they've read it. You got the friends that are kind of interested, and then, you got the ones that are,
But isn't this an interesting phenomenon? Because at the same time that we don't really want other people telling us what to do while we're doing our detox, and we've figured out we want to do this and we know why we want to do it and it makes perfect sense to us. So at the same time that we don't want people telling us what to do, we have to then be conscious and aware that they probably don't want us doing that to them either.
Yeah. I mean, my sister is like, I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Leave me
So
alone.
that's okay. And that's totally okay.
I don't
It's a fine balance to find. I know at the beginning I was so excited that I really wanted to share. Now I don't. I really don't care if someone is going to come to me and ask me questions, fantastic. But right now, I'm doing my things, experimenting with my recipes and enjoying myself, and that's it. Because
all my
the
friends,
Yeah.
all my friends tell me, what are you detoxing from? Because this is, I've been doing it for years, so.
So what kind of answer do we give with conscious thought and awareness? I think the simple answer is when they say, what are you detoxing for, or why are you detoxing? I'm doing it for me.
No, they're saying like, I detox all the time. What do I have to detox? I should be fine. That's what they're, why are you detoxing?
Maybe the answer then will be I have discovered that this is not actually, and you guys listening, this is important. I have discovered that this is not actually a detox for me. This is actually a way of living.
Right.
And that if I choose to have that lasagna one day or a birthday cake or whatever, that becomes a conscious choice in the moment, but that's not how you're living. And so when people are pushing you about detox, what are you detoxing for? You've done this for so long, you've done so many detoxes. I think the answer becomes, oh, you know what? It's actually not a detox. It's actually my life.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have similar situations?
Activer.
Oh, I mean, it's sometimes I always said, when someone says, why are you doing this? And I say, why not? And that's nice because the moment I start saying something, I get somehow, it's very difficult not to get defensive. But
Yeah.
when we say the Jewish way, which is always asking a question, you bounce the ball right back and you bring, so it's a bit of a nasty thing, but it takes people a while before they find that they've been had. So why not? Or
I love that. Why not? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why wouldn't I? That's perfect.
Mhm.
Yesterday I was chatting with someone who's a new patient with us, and she was telling me about, other people's thoughts about what she's doing, and questioning different aspects. And well, are you working on your adrenals? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And what if it's your pituitary? And what if it's this? And what if it's that? And I keep bringing it back to, what is your pituitary made out of? Cells, blood, and lymph. Good answer. Well, they said maybe it's my adrenals as well. What are your adrenals made out of? Cells, blood, and lymph. What is your brain? What is your thyroid? What is your colon? What is your liver? Cells, blood, and lymph. What are your muscles? What are your nerves? Cells, blood, and lymph.
Did you show it?
Who's that?
His cat. I see it in the background.
Hi, Roseanne. It's Lily. I'm new to this, but I'm trying to listen from time to time.
Good.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I know you're sharing the story from yesterday. Go ahead.
Right, but you were so right on with it, Lily. You were like, cells, blood, and lymph. Cells, blood, and lymph. Right?
Yeah,
So,
you said that enough times, and I've heard Dr. Morse say that enough times.
it's true. And doesn't it help? By the end of our conversation, Lily, you were very focused and very centered and very grounded. So that's another thing about consciousness, is to bring yourself to that point of simplicity, which Dr. Morse talks about. I just heard his voice in my head when I said simplicity, because he uses that word a lot. Right? That simplicity of the body, that simplicity of the moment, that simplicity of the choice. Am I going to eat this or am I going to eat that? Right? The simplicity of it all. The simplicity of how your body works. The simplicity of how happiness is created and held on to is by being in a simple state of mind. I mean, how many people are finding out that really happiness is, a decent roll of toilet paper right now, right? It's not, am I looking at a Mercedes? Am I looking at a Kia? Am I looking at a this or that? It's not, any number of gazillion external things we can talk about. It's really about the simplicity. Wait a second. I have my family. I have a roof over my head, and God help us for the people who don't. And I hope that everywhere in this world right now, we're helping people who don't. But I have food, I have air, I don't need a lot. And my health, and that conscious awareness of I did not get here overnight. And sometimes when we have something going on that feels like it came overnight, wait a second, I was fine yesterday and now today I've got this. Is that really true? Or is the manifestation that we finally became so conscious and aware that our body is saying, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, until we get so loud and it's such a strong shake that now, oh, it shakes us into consciousness. Now we have a problem that we need to address. But truly, consciousness and awareness, if we're honest with ourselves, if we're truly honest with ourselves, these issues that we are dealing with, and the reason why we're detoxing, is not anything that happened yesterday. It's not anything that happened a month ago or 3 months or 6 months ago, or even 20 years ago. It's something that has been building in our bodies. And hey, I don't know why one person can abuse the heck out of their body and not have a problem till they're 60, and another person has a problem at 7 months old. Like Veronique and I just spoke to someone with a 7-month-old. I can't tell you why that occurs outside of genetics and lymphatic congestion and acids. But bring yourself to the consciousness that this did not happen today. It did not happen yesterday. That it is a buildup of the past until now, and not that we have to go and ruminate on that, but that we want to be able to be present and aware and know that there's a long history that got us to where we are. And it's okay to expect that it's going to take us some time. Veronique told her story last week about everything that she's been through and her body's been through over the years, and how she's done layer upon layer of detox. So be conscious and aware of where you came from, where things came from, and then be in the present moment so as not to worry about where things are going. But Lily, I was so proud of you yesterday. You answered everything correctly.
Thank you. But people get concerned when they see the diet, and this is literally what my neighbor said to me. It's easy for them to eat fruit only and step out and warm up their butt in South Florida and soak it up with vitamin D. It's not the same for everybody's adrenals. If we live in the northern climate, it is not the same for us, and we need more support. We need the amino acids. We need the essential amino acids. There is a reason why they're called essential, she said to me.
There is a reason, and guess where they are? They're in my apple. They're in my strawberry. They're in my banana. They're in everything. So let's address that because it came up. So let's address it. First of all, whether your body is in Canada or in Florida, it still is a human body. It still is made up of cells, blood, and lymph. The cells still have to be fed, and they still have to be cleaned. And we know what feeds them and what cleans them. And that is alkalizing foods, because ultimately you're a species. Whether you live in Canada or Florida, you're the same species. Number two, yes, it is colder there. Come on to Florida. If you can't, wear more clothing. Number three, the temperature that you live in is not what harmed your adrenals or your thyroid or your pituitary or your liver or whatever. It's not the temperature that harmed it, it's the acids. So all the amino acids are provided in your fruits and vegetables. Oh, the last part of that is that we're not asking you, especially at the beginning of the detox, to go all raw or to go all fruit, right? We both have started with fruits and vegetables and some cooked foods, some sweet potatoes, some soups, some steamed vegetables. So that is transitional. That will still get you a detox response, yay, but it is transitional so that you don't have a very big healing crisis or you don't have a very big emotional downturn. And of course, that's why we do this part of the webinar, right? The mindset part, because there's a mindset, there's an emotional component to what we're doing. So again, all of those answers are provided. They're in your book. They're on the Detox Forum. They're in videos. They're in, written format. So definitely tap into that. But also, you guys, so important to be in your truth. Your neighbor did not walk in your shoes. Your friends did not walk in your shoes. They did not live your life. They did not feel your pain. Your doctor too.
Yes, I think it's important to. I don't remember which participant last week was talking about that. I think it was Freya, and I don't think she's on the call today, but she mentioned the why. What is your why? Why? So it's really important to really write it down. In the first week of detox, we invite you to start a journal, write your goals. What is your why? Why are you doing it? Is it just it's not to please other people. It's not to be nice. It's to be nice to yourself, to take care of yourself, and to change something in you that you actually don't like. So it's really important to stick to that, whatever it is. It can be for you first, and then it can be maybe because you want to be healthy and age in good health, to be strong for your children and your partner, if you live with someone, if you are with someone. But think about that, like, what is your why? So really, and at the beginning of the conversation, I was talking about the center of the wheel. That's the why. Come back to that, because if you stay on the outer part of the wheel, this is where we have all the crazy thoughts and our minds are shattered, and we hear this, we hear the neighbors, and we hear whoever, our loved ones, saying things about what we do, and then we hear what's going on in the world. So really, it's important to come back to the center of the wheel. This is where everything is more calm, where you have more clear thoughts, and this is where your why is. So that's what I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, that is so good. And that even brings me to the thought of self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe as I think this through, as I do some EFT with different patients, and maybe we talk about fear, we talk about worry or anxiety, maybe we have to go back and we have to think about when we first started doubting ourselves. When did we first start doubting our choices? When did we first start thinking that we didn't know enough to choose something for ourselves? What should I wear? Should I cut my hair? Well, I should cut my hair, but I can't right now. What should I do? What career path should I take? Should I have kids? Should I not have kids? How many times do we ask other people their opinion as if their opinion for some reason is better, smarter, or more important than our own? So maybe bring your consciousness to your level of self-doubt and think about where that came from, when that first happened, and unwind that, unravel that. So that's really important. And I like what you said, and I like where Lily is, going, the things that you said with the bringing in the friends and the neighbors and the family members. There's a level of self-doubt there. And you've got to ask yourself in your heart and in your dantian, as Harm talks about, in your gut, what do you feel?
Right. And I would add another question to ask ourselves is this serving me? Is what my neighbor telling me, is this serving me? Or whoever, or are my thoughts serving me right now? Whatever is going through our minds, this is, I think, a good question to ask yourself.
So these are good. These are really good.
Veronique,
Go ahead.
What I wanted to say was, this is, I don't concern myself, or I'm speaking about this particular situation from yesterday. This is not because I concern myself about what other people think about things that are not important.
Oh, we lost her.
This is just because you
Lily,
want
you
to
cut
know.
out. Could you start that over again?
I said this is not about like concerning yourself what other people think about it. This is more in my experience right now. This is more about wanting to know that I am safe in this and that I will be safe.
Yes.
That's all I want. I just want to be reassured. I just want someone who's been through it and who's been through other people's experiences to tell me that this is safe enough, and that that I will stay in the safe. Because the person who told me this wasn't because she doesn't like me or she wants to confuse me. It's because she's a holistic nutritionist herself. It's someone who was educated in this as well, and she was saying it from a place of being concerned, nothing else.
Sure.
Of course.
So my only thought is there being safe while I'm doing it. That's all. And I believe in it. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't jump in it.
Yeah. And we understand that. We understand that most people that give us their thoughts and their opinions about what we're doing are doing it for our good, right? They're doing it because they love us, they care about us, they're worried about us.
Yes.
But I think that it's going to be helpful as you read through the whole book, and you start to the purpose of the book was to build those layers of understanding, first about the cells, blood and lymph, and about the acid, and about the fruit, and about the protein, and all of that. So I think that's going to be really helpful to you. Yeah, we are actually both going to have to go because we both have patients to tend to. But you guys, sorry about some of the technical difficulties. We may do this on a different platform in the near future, but we'll let you know if we do. But we thank you as always for joining us, and we'll see you hopefully next Tuesday, and Tuesday 6 p.m. Eastern time. And have a
Well, cheerio. How you doing?